Good morning, everybody. I am Joan McDonald. I am the chair of the New York State Bridge Authority. It is Thursday, June 12th, 2025. We are having our meeting a week early this month in honor of Juneteenth. So I would like to call the roll. Maria Bruni.
Present.
Alex Berardi.
Present.
Lanny Gilbert.
Present.
Michael O'Brien.
Present.
And I am here. We have a full house and a quorum. This meeting has been noticed according to the New York State Open Meetings and Public Officers Law. We do have an audit committee that will be scheduled, but do we have any public comments, Chris?
No one signed up today.
Okay, thank you so much. Then we will start with community appreciation for some of our exemplary employees. First up is Daisy Rios. Daisy, come on up. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good. For Daisy's exceptional professionalism and critical bilingual communication skills during a multi-agency response to a traffic accident on April 23rd, 2025. Daisy quickly arrived on scene and immediately stepped in to assist a driver with limited English proficiency, ensuring effective communication between state police, New York State Bridge Authority maintenance, EMS, and fire personnel. All the while, she kept the command center informed of the evolving situation, including additional incidents resulting from the lane closure. People just don't know what to do. Her calm demeanor, clear communication, and commitment to public safety exemplify the spirit of Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. Congratulations, Daisy. Danielle and Greg nominated you, so congratulations. Danielle, come on up for a photo also. Thanks. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next up, Bonnie Frost. Bonnie, come on up.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Bonnie Frost has been a dedicated and versatile member of the New York State Bridge Authority since 2006. Starting as a toll collector, she has embraced new roles, including STB and now administrative aid, with professionalism and enthusiasm. She is the welcoming face of headquarters, yes you are, handling public inquiries with professionalism and grace. Her positive attitude, strong work ethic, and team spirit significantly enhance daily operations. Bonnie's innovative and support for colleagues foster a collaborative workplace. She has always supported her department with a positive attitude and unwavering reliability. She consistently reflects the authority's core values through her commitment and service. We are proud to recognize Bonnie for her outstanding contributions and continued dedication. She exemplifies excellence in public service and is a truly valued member of the NYSBA team. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations. Next up, Tanya Ash. Tanya, come on up, please. Congratulations. Good morning. Tanya Ash has been a dedicated and highly valued NYSBA employee since 2016, demonstrating professionalism, reliability, and a deep commitment to the authority's success. As a compliance specialist, she manages the MWBE and SDVOB programs and represents NYSBA at statewide events with integrity. Tanya also plays a vital role in procurement and supports operations across multiple areas. Known for her calm demeanor, technical skill, and team-oriented approach, she is always willing to help others. Though much of her work occurs behind the scenes, its impact is far-reaching. Tanya truly embodies NYSBA's mission, vision, and values and deserves this recognition.
Cool.
We published that one. Next up, we will pause the board meeting for an audit committee meeting. Alex Gerardi, Maria, and Lanny. Alex?
Thank you, Joan. First up, we're looking for adopt the minutes of the March 20th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting.
So.
Second. Roll. Mary Bernie.
Aye.
Lonnie Gilbert. Aye. Myself, I'm also an aye, so this motion is passed. Next, we move on to the engagement letter audit planning general control systems auditor of the last year award for Brian.
Thank you. As indicated in the memo, that will be brought to the board upon recommendation by the audit committee. This is the last year of the contract for Charconi Tagara, who's acted as our internal control systems auditor for the past 5 years. Actually, they had the contract the last 2 times prior as well. The fee is expected to be $21,000 this year. The audit plan also included the functions being evaluated or reviewed, include toll collection revenue, which is a high-risk area that is reviewed every year, and 3 other areas that alternate are investments, fixed assets, and financial reporting.
Anybody have any questions or comments? This is going to be the last year. On that side. Then we have a motion to accept. So. Thank you, Maria. Roll, Maria Bernie.
Aye.
Lonnie Gilbert. Aye. And Alex Ferdy, I'm also an aye. The item will move on to the engagement letter, independent account services with Brian, also the last year.
Okay, as indicated, this is our financial statement auditor who provides an opinion on our financial statement at the end of each year. Again, we ran a 5-year RFP years ago. The last year is 2025. You see the engagement for the auditor every year when he presents to the board the financial statements. They did that this past March. Again, we're going to go out. We've been happy with them. We'll go out with a new RFP next year.
Questions, comments? Anybody notice the price? One of the only things that doesn't track inflation. Going back 5 years, both the contract before that and this one. So, can we have a motion? We'll move. Second. All in favor by saying aye. 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 Any other business? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. Do we need to do that? Second. Second. All in favor? Back to Joan.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Next up is to adopt the annual and regular meeting minutes of May 5th. Sorry, I didn't see that. My apologies. Finance Committee.
Okay, I have a motion to open the finance meeting.
So moved.
Okay. I don't need to do that. No. Okay, so the first item is adopting the minutes from the last meeting. Any comments?
No.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up is the operations report. Typically, we try to bring to the finance committee in the second quarter, the first quarter's of review of financial statements. While these aren't audited, they are presented in a format that we've historically provided them to the board. Just to note, traffic increased 0.99%, which is pretty good. We've seen toll revenue increase 4.71%. That has to do with mix of traffic as well as an increase in the fine payments that were received under the toll by mail program. Continued stable interest rates. We saw interest income increase, $145,000, which is pretty good because we have seen market rates or prevailing market rates decline. You know, we also saw miscellaneous receipts increase $277,000 associated with some fire leasing activity and the board approved some leases in the past few months. Operating expenses were budgeted for 7.2, where that includes 1.7 million for post-employment benefits and 1.6 million for depreciation of the walkway over the booked in 12 that will be booked at year end. Operating expenses overall increased 194,000. Commercial insurance, electronic toll system, electronic toll costs, the CSC fees, if you will, repairs and maintenance all contributed to those variances, which are summarized in the memo. This item is just being forwarded to the board. There is no action required for information purposes. Comments or questions? Okay. Any new items? I make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Now back to me, right?
Yes.
Okay. We are back in session for the regular board meeting. And the first item on the agenda is to adopt the annual and regular meeting minutes of May 15th. Anybody have any of the board members have questions or comments on those, board meeting minutes? Okay, do I have a motion to approve and adopt?
So moved.
Thank you, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The minutes are approved and adopted. Next up are Minoshka's reports to the board.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Before I start my report, today is the last board meeting for Francine Rivera, our lovely Director of Information. Francine has served for over 20 years here at the agency, so we're very sad to see her go. And in terms of the business of the agency, we have several open positions. We have manager of design and construction contracts. That is, we are currently working on that, interviewing candidates. Administrative assistant positions that we're also currently interviewing, laborers, command center personnel, as well as security personnel. We hope soon to have, a full staff here at the agency. In terms of training, NYSBA has continued to work on providing trainings to supervisors, managers, and directors. We last participated in an emotional intelligence training on May 22nd. Thank you to Christine Priest and her team from the Thruway Authority for providing this enlightening training. We will continue to team up with the Thruway. They're not only coming and training our personnel here, but allowing us to go. And whenever they have open spaces in the training, we are able to go and participate on those as well. Summer internship, our summer seasonal program began on May 27. Welcome to all our summer interns and employees. So we're very excited about these students that are here. In terms of community, the Bear Mountain Bridge Relaking project design continues. We held an open house on May 21st in Peekskill to provide the community with another opportunity to learn about the project, to see the early design concepts, and to chat with the project team. We have this time a very small but engaged crowd that attended mostly at the beginning of the evening. That day was raining and stuff. So I think that reduced the number of people who wanted to participate but couldn't. So we continue to encourage our members of the public to stay informed and to go through our website and social media channels. We have also been conducting some outreach to the local environmental community to get their feedback on the project, especially as we submit our documents related to speaker process. On May 23rd, we met with Jeff Ansevino from Scenic Hudson, and soon we will be meeting with Riverkeeper to ensure that they also have no issues related to the project. In terms of external meetings, we met with staff members of Senator Michelle Hinchey on May 22nd to discuss legislation and the upcoming centennial celebrations of the Mid-Hudson Bridge in 2030. The Stronger Together Hudson Valley Public Safety and Wellness Expo took place yesterday. It was fantastic. We have over 40 agencies that participated, 13 state agencies, and over 30 industry partners that came to showcase solutions in enhanced preparedness, mental health awareness, and interagency and community collaboration. Again, we brought our goals this year, and again, they're a huge success with the community. So they have been eating poison ivy away and other invasive species around the walkway over the Hudson. They have gained lots of public attention from the public. And we keep reminding people that these are workers. So they're not going to be feeding them, particularly because the poison ivy
Is
oil gets into the fur. Not that it works, because I was there and people were like trying to pet and all that, but we let them know. And we have several media outlets that have come in to write about the goals, and they will be featured on the New York Gov social media account. So that was pretty cool. In terms of approved traveling, Laura Melendez, our deputy director, traveled to Portland, Oregon between May 31st and June 3rd for the IPCCA Communications, HR, and Legal Workshop. Lauren was a panelist on a panel focused on mental health, in particular, NYSBA new policy of pet therapy. That was a big success. She was able, I don't know how, in Oregon, to find 8 dogs that came in and showcase, their work, their work, and the people were there, so that was very well received. In terms of our strategic plan initiatives, we continue to work hard at them. Some of our objectives is to ensure the safety of our customers and minimize accidents on the bridge facilities. So we are launching an anti-speeding campaign this summer, working with OGS to develop the content. We also were members of we also were part of the Governor Hochul's initiatives, and the legislation approved to be part of the waiting motion program, as well as the work zone protection. So we're very excited. Now we are one of the other transportation agencies in the state, along with the Thruway, New York State DOT, and the MTA, that has these programs in place. We also are focusing on trying to reduce suicides on our bridges. So we are nearing completion of the design phase of our sidewalk detection in different sidewalks throughout all the bridges. We have been working with dishes also on this project to ensure that we are able to, have a better understanding of the people traversing through our sidewalks and their potential mental state with them. In terms of, we also wanted to reduce incidents in our pathways, particularly at night. So I'm happy to report that every single bridge that is open has been equipped with adequate lighting. So people that, we don't want the people to be using the decks, but to come into the sidewalk and using them. And then we are also putting a proposal for safe streets and roads for all, asking this grant organization for funding to develop a comprehensive roadway safety plan, focusing on potential cyclist vehicle and collision and improving the safety of all in the agency. Another of our goals was ensuring the safety of our employees. So we have enhanced our crisis and trauma policies. We have now routine safety checks by our senior safety, security, and risk manager, who comes and performs audits almost every week. And then we have our work zone safety roadshow that we went through all the bridges. That was a great success because it allowed us to work in closer collaboration with our partners that we work anyhow, but now it has opened the lines to let's do this together and how we can collaborate. So we have also worked with a new created a new in-person peer support group called Perfectly Broken, a new organization led by first responders for first responders. We have include air horns for all maintenance and STB employees. We have our centralized training and management system, increase the number of safety trainings that we're providing. And we have also continued to hold bi-monthly internal tabletop exercises with regular participation now with STBs and CCAs. And we're trying to do joint meetings with maintenance as much as possible as well. In addition to that, we are working with CISA on identifying physical and operational vulnerabilities throughout all the sites in NYSBA. So the remaining 2 visits, they have been in all the bridges, but they're gonna start working on the Newburgh Beacon as well as the Mid-Hudson Bridge. In terms of contracts, our chief engineer will be presenting our public bid auction of dark fiber. And in terms of traffic and revenue, again, we exceeded our expectations by 0.67%. The traffic in May consisted of 5.8 million vehicles, 2.11 of them passed through valid Easy Pass tag rates, and 92.61 passenger. Composition of the traffic was 92.61 passenger vehicles and 7.39% commercial, again higher than 2024 plan. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. And in terms of activities to report, I don't have any activity to report this. Yes, thank you.
Board members, couple of questions. You talked about the bridges where we just did the curfew. I thought it was on Newburgh Beacon.
That we do, but then in some of the other bridges, when we saw the public traversing at night in the decks, we decided, well, if the people that are gonna be the illegal activity of crossing, if they see lights, they may decide to just enter the sidewalk and do it that way, and it has worked. So we don't have, or we don't encourage the public to use the.
We didn't change the hours.
We didn't change the hours, but people. Stop the bag from being used, and they're using more and more the sidewalk.
And the outreach on the lead, is there any other major outreach to like trucking routes, town pamphlets?
We are gonna be opening a virtual. We have 2 more virtual open houses, as well as 1 real open house that now we are evaluating if we should do it in like fairs in the community. So since we know that the public is gonna be coming, maybe going there and collecting and talking to the public about it.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board members?
Was that just a month's worth of work?
That was just a month of work on board.
Oh, short month.
And it was a short one. That is true. That is true. Thank you, Minoshka. We have nothing on administration. Next up, engineering and maintenance, Eric.
For engineering, we do have dark fiber lease, which represents untold revenue opportunity. So in April 2025, we did advertise for a dark fiber lease under Rip Van Winkle. We received a single bid from Castle Fiber on a 10-year lease for a 72 fiber strand lease. The bid amount over the 10-year term for that lease is $811,286. And we did receive the required bid deposit of $67,500. And we're submitting this lease agreement to the board for approval.
Questions from the board?
Michael had made the comment that it's 10-year agreements, and I had the same thought. I did not realize they were all 10-year. We've been doing them for a
Right,
while.
right.
But they're all long-term agreements.
Not the first time I've got my money.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thanks, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thanks, Alex. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni.
Aye.
Alex Berardi.
I
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
and Michael O'Brien.
Aye.
And I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next, Eric.
Our standby contractor, Hudson Valley Bridge Construction, they have been performing bridge repair work for us under contract BA 2020 RE 109 CM. With an approved extension to the end of December 2025. The current ongoing repair work at the Mid Hudson Bridge Arch has exhausted the available funds that we currently have in the project, and it's projected to require an additional $300,000 to cover the final repair costs to the end of June. That's what's been projected. Additionally, for the standby emergency work, we do anticipate to assign Mid Hudson Valley Bridge contractors additional work to address structural steel repairs, which we anticipate will be identified on the ongoing 2025 annual inspections. And we want to make sure we are able to keep those structures safe and address flags as they come up. So the estimate of those anticipated repairs over the various structures, we anticipate needing about $1 million to have that in the pot to be prepared for any work or to be prepared for work that we know will be generated from the final inspections. Therefore, with those two elements combined, the $300,000 to finish the arch bridge work and the anticipated work needed to cover the structural flag repairs, we are submitting the proposal to increase the emergency repair budget in the amount of $1,300,000. So far, there's no indication, because it's a time and material, there's no indication of any tariff implementation, because we will be assessing those common materials.
Yes, they got it. Questions?
Maybe this is for the jobs in progress, but the arch at Sid Hudson, I mean, have we really looked at, I mean, once we shut that down and that's gonna stretch close to a year in duration of work? I mean, do we think we fully understand the impact that's gonna have on Hudson Valley?
It'll be definitely driver behavior, but it is coming up, but it'll
Okay,
be driver behavior, but we're still maintaining we're not changing the traffic flow. We still be doing 2-on-1 and the peak hours. There
okay,
might be a slight adjustment that they do have to make in terms of the pattern, but we're maintaining the traffic flow. We're not reducing the pattern.
The
okay,
bridge will not be closed. It'll
right,
be under construction, but it will not be closed to traffic.
okay, I understand.
Okay.
But to a lot of people sitting there at 4 o'clock, it certainly,
Well, we have people sitting there at 4 o'clock now.
to the people now, it looks like it's closed, but yeah, okay, got it, okay. Thank you.
I guess this is for Manoshka, Kevin, Brian, and Eric. On the tariff side, what we're doing in the county is we are setting up a standalone item in the contracts, so that with a swing, if it goes above a certain percentage and below a certain percentage, so that we can track what it is, and then negotiate with the vendors. It's primarily for commodities, but we're also looking at how we can structure our contracts going forward for capital, for projects. So I'll forward it to all of you so you have it, because I think we want to be flexible on the increased costs that vendors and contractors might have, but we don't want to be taken advantage of,
Mhm.
because it would be very easy to say, you know, and we're requiring, justification, for why they're seeing, increases. So I'll forward you the language that we're putting into our contracts. Take a look at it, see if it works here. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve and adopt, the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Usually aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up,
So during the repair work of the arch, there was some demolition work, so we uncovered an adjacent steel beam that was partially not accessible at the time, and we noted some deterioration there. So that necessitated additional design work from our general consultant, Majeski and Masters. And in addition to that, additional work on the design side, we also wanted to task Majeski and Masters to perform the construction inspection function, because our existing construction inspection term, HDR, that had expired. This additional construction inspection work that we're assigning Majeski and Masters will be to document and validate the time and material used by the contractor, and it does not pose any conflict of interest to the design side of the work. It's just be able to document and substantiate the time and material use. So we're considering, we're proposing to the board to approve an additional scope of work for Majeski and Masters at the cost of $50,500.
questions? All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So,
Thank you, Maria. Michael, second.
second.
I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up, we're jobs in progress.
The jobs in progress, as you heard, the Bear Mountain Bridge Deck project is the design is ongoing. The consultant, Tomasetti, had submitted to us preliminary plan package. We're reviewing the structural details on that currently. They also have completed the shipper finding document, and we have authorized them to submit the shipper finding document to shipper. In addition, we had sent out the request for agency leads on the project, and no other agency wanted to be co-lead. So NYSBA, as the owners of the project, we are the lead agency, and we're preparing to submit the formal seeker. But at the additional recommendation that you had made, we follow the formal protocol, but we just wanted to extend the review or the coordination a little more. So we did, as you heard, we invited Scenic Hudson. We have that, and they were okay with the project for negative declaration, and we have coming up River Keepers. And as part of the process, we did officially submit through the official channels for the DEC, but we're also reaching out directly to one of the individuals there that manage that program. So that's not yet set up, but we're covering all bases, and we're hoping to submit, once those meetings are covered, we're hoping to publicly submit on the project website the negative declaration for the project.
Questions on the jobs in progress report?
Do you have any feel for when the,
Oh, yeah, I know you have it on, but is your question on Bear Mountain? or-
yeah, do you have any feel for when that will be in funds from
What portion?
the actual design?
Oh, no, the schedule is still way in October
Thank you,
in terms of, developing the final.
thank you.
So now coming up to your item, the Mid Hudson, East Approach Bridge Project. We did, receive, 3 bids. The apparent low bidder is Michaels, and we're currently analyzing the bids, reviewing the bids, make sure there's no unbalanced items, and once we do a thorough review, we'll be, I guess, coming to the board for approval, but we're still in the review stage of the bid documents. That ends the job in progress.
Other questions from the board members? Okay, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the jobs in progress?
So moved.
Thank you, Alex. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni.
Hi.
Alex Berardi.
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert.
Aye.
Michael O'Brien.
aye,
And I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up, financial, Brian.
Thank you. There were 6 investments for the month of May, all largely of a routine nature. The unit reserve fund balance stands at 124,300,000. Interest income and yield, we did define a bit associated with prevailing market rates. We're still making in excess of $500,000 a month. Hopefully that will continue.
Hopefully it will. All right, questions for Brian?
Tough to say.
I know. Do I have a motion to approve and adopt?
So moved.
Thank you. Alex, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maria. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni.
Aye.
Alex Berardi.
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert.
Aye.
Michael O'Brien.
aye,
And I vote in the affirmative. The monthly investment report is approved and adopted. Next up, Brian, the engagement letter.
The engagement letter for account services, engagement letter for independent account services first. This was discussed and approved for recommendation of award by the committee earlier, the audit committee earlier today. Nothing really to add.
Okay. Anything to add from the board?
And you said you won't wait a year to go out to bid, right? You have publicly 6 months from now or something, go out to bid for the 3-year contract.
So typically we would go out in like second quarter to have it in place. So for scheduling purposes, everybody knows, how many people are gonna need, so on and so forth.
Second quarter next year.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. So yes, we don't need it January 1. They really only show up typically in February for a couple of weeks, and they do work through March on or about the first week when they provide the final report. This one's pretty straightforward. The other one, they spend a little more time with us. They go and they spend part of September, they do a few weeks of review. So they're getting, instead of validating final numbers and estimates, they're going through and doing process evaluation and audit.
All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the engagement letter?
so moved,
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alex. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
aye,
and I vote in the affirmative. The engagement letter is given and adopted. The audit plan and internal control.
So this is another engagement letter, full audit plan for the internal control systems auditor, also discussed and approved for recommendation of award by the audit committee earlier today. Again, we'll postpone that.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
So
Thank you, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
aye,
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Quarterly operations report, Brian.
okay, as reviewed in the finance committee earlier today, names it was earlier, for the most part, they don't really have anything else to add. This is for information purposes only, no actions required by that.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Brian. We have nothing in human resources today, nothing in IT, and nothing in bridge operation. So we'll move to the command center, Danielle,
Thank you.
Transcom Open Reach assessment.
Thank you. So this is just our annual invoice for OpenReach, Transcom system that we use to report on traffic conditions and roadway condition, traffic times. Each member agency funds this program, and our share this year is $18,182. Which staff needs approval. Move forward.
Questions and comments? So quick question, and hurricane season has started.
Really?
Yes, it has. June first is the official start of hurricane season. There were tornadoes last
It's
week,
in the news.
but it's, June first is the official start of hurricane season. Do we have are there any Transcom tabletops scheduled for that? Because I just saw that the director of the command center at FEMA resigned this
Yeah.
morning, so gave us 2 weeks notice, so that's not positive.
Is he
No.
the one that didn't know that there was a hurricane?
Oh, no,
season?
oh, no. This is the one
Okay.
everybody wanted to keep, so. Are there any tabletop Transcom scheduled?
There's no tabletop through Transcom, there's one through Dishes.
Oh, okay, good,
So we
good.
participate in
Good.
other state ones, but Transcom hasn't typically done a tabletop. They
Okay.
usually coordinate interagency calls for the region.
Yeah.
And we participate in those, so. So that's a good suggestion, to have them host something like that. We actually were gonna do something statewide for our next tabletop that would involve all the agencies Transcom would include, but. It wasn't gonna be, I'm gonna say the element of surprise for what the tabletop would be, but it's not weather related, so that would be a good
Right.
suggestion.
And because it is hurricane season, I know during Sandy, each of the agencies had different closure requirements regarding wind speed. The Port Authority had one,
Yeah.
the MTA had a second, and I think it was changed so that it was universal,
It's,
so.
they're trying to make it universal,
Okay.
but, the Port Authority and MTA are very proactive in shutting things down and
Right.
putting restrictions where we remain reactive because we don't wanna, we have to hit a certain threshold before we tell people they can't cross.
Mhm.
So we're kind of the outliers, we're kind of holding on.
Okay,
But, we do work with it. We'll get on the call, we know what their restrictions are, and if we want to, break our policy and make a change for that specific event, we'll talk about it, but
What speed is it for us?
I think it's to 40 and sustained, or some of us at 40, that typically will be for having restrictions, but 65, I think, is where we'll shut things down.
right. Okay. All right. Any other questions from the board? All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Michael. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
aye.
and I approve. The resolution is approved and adopted.
Great, thank you. So my next item is our live video sharing platform, Samsara, and giving first responders access to our video during live events that they're responding to. So we recently purchased Samsara, which allows us to share video with our partner agencies without giving them direct access to our system. So this system allows them to log into a platform that allows them to do what we're doing. So we'd like to be able to enter into MOUs with agencies such as, state and local, law enforcement, other first responders, emergency services, 911 personnel. So that when we're calling 911 and a law enforcement officer is responding, they're able to log into the system and see what they're actually looking at. So we, enhance communication, provide more safety for the public and the people responding. Some of the people that we've specifically would like to enter into agreements with currently are the local 911 centers, the state police dive team, Westchester, Poughkeepsie, Putnam County police officers. And then as we continue to identify partners that are interested in the system and would like to use it, we come back and ask for to be able to enter into agreements with them as well. But we'd like to start.
Makes a lot of sense. Do I have any questions from the board members? Right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
thank you, Michael. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up, Jeff.
Okay, thank you. I have the, Easy Pass and cash tolling, toll expenses from the New York State Thruway for November of 2020. The, Thruway, just to note, we did get a large payment from the Thruway for a toll that we were waiting for from the transition, so things are going well in that regard. This invoice for the month of November 2024 is $644,430. Breakdown of the packet. This does include a payment of $24,134.83 to the collection agency for amounts collected in November 2020.
Questions, comments from the board? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I abstain. The resolution is approved and adopted. Thank you, Jeff. We have no other presentations. Do any of the board members have any new business they would like to put forward?
Just a couple of items. During the prep session, first of all, shout out. The average response times that we've seen quarter over quarter. We shared that with some of you with the site groups. They say that's absolutely astounding. In fact, Paul Duperstein said, why hasn't somebody written that up and put that out in the journal? Because that is a game changer. A lot of times the diagnostic software surveillance systems, they haven't really pursued that because they don't believe it matters because it takes so long to get law enforcement there that it's inconsequential. So kudos to Danielle and the team for getting it down to 6 minutes, but the standard deviations for both the Mid-Hudson Bridge and the Newton Beacon have gotten to the point where it is almost 100% travel, but people are being dispatched. So I would just like to submit a request that could we look at, like, for example, the administrative building that sits at the other end of the bridge. I know the tower is prohibited, but the administrative building, that could we have like an auxiliary office for the SPs to sit there? And so they would just, cut that 4 minutes out and be able to get right there. And Newburgh Beacon, the problem is with all the incidents on the eastbound, these have to go out, cross to Newburgh, and then come back. And so if we could cut that out, maybe, all those construction buildings underneath the bridge, all the trailers or something like that. Again, just throwing it out as an idea.
I'd get it cut down.
The travel.
Oh, it's fine.
I will
Yep.
say to add to that, when we do our observation tours and we try to see where the incidents are occurring and where we can sit. Obviously, the data showing the heavy times is where we'll choose the, so the administration building on the east side at Mid-Hudson, we'll sit there for a certain amount of time. If a situation occurs outside of over there, obviously the response time.
That was gonna be my question. Are you probably looking at how you patrol or your
Yeah.
position based off?
Yeah.
If not using a building,
Right.
that type of
Sitting in the
response,
vehicle,
yeah, that's a.
getting out there. We do see increased response times, obviously, when we're closer, but predicting, if we're using data to predict.
Yeah.
The issue
When
is
to
coming,
be, yeah.
and
that's
things
the
are always
big
gonna.
So request, second item is just an FYI, and that is, there's kind of two efforts that are working together, largely as a result of a good friend Claire. First part of it is the group at the National DOT in conjunction with the AI lab at Harvard is looking at what kind of a database would be necessary to develop the tools to do predictive analytics on potential suicide victims or emotionally distressed individuals beyond today's tools are very rudimentary. So they're looking at that, and then secondly is one of my friends in the New York Assembly have connected with those folks, and they are looking at ways of collecting that data from multiple agencies, ourselves included, to establish a database that will allow the AI tools, because again, in Boston says, it's totally untapped, has high potential.
What's the software we're using right now? most often tells you about an EMT.
So we use SiteLogic.
EDP.
Yep, I know. We use SiteLogic to
SiteLogic's
detect
great.
pedestrian activity, and that's the same system we would use for sidewalk
So
detection.
you're talking about the next generation of psychology.
Absolutely,
With the,
so. High potential, because it's been untapped because they, again, they say, doesn't matter, because police can't get there in 9 minutes. And by the way, nobody. Nobody disputes the ultimate need for barriers, because that ultimately. Most time, still, so,
but still reducing it.
thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other new business from the board? Okay, our next meeting is July 17th at 9:30. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lanny. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.